Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because we're diving headfirst into one of the most explosive moments in late-night television history. A meltdown so raw, so unfiltered, that it left millions glued to their screens, jaws dropped, and social media ablaze with memes, hot takes, and endless replays. It was just last week, on September 17, 2025, when Jimmy Kimmel Live, that staple of Hollywood wit and celebrity schmoozing, transformed from a cozy chat fest into a full-blown battlefield, all thanks to a guest appearance by none other than Charlie Kirk, the firebrand founder of Turning Point USA, a conservative powerhouse that's been rallying young Republicans since 2012 with unapologetic takes on everything from campus free speech to election integrity. Kirk, with his boyish face masking a razor-sharp ideological edge, strode onto the El Capitan stage in Burbank, California, under the glaring lights and thunderous applause of a hand-picked audience, ready to plug his latest book, The Art of the Fight, Winning the Culture War One Campus at a Time. At 31 years old, Kirk's no stranger to the spotlight. He's debated college kids in viral videos, sparred with AOC on Twitter, and even advised Trump's 2024 re-election campaign, turning his organization into a $50 million juggernaut that funnels cash and clout to GOP causes. But on this night, host Jimmy Kimmel, the 57-year-old king of sardonic monologues who's skewered everyone from Scientologists to Sarah Palin over 20 seasons, wasn't in the mood for pleasantries. Fresh off a summer hiatus where whispers of network jitters about his edgier Trump-era barbs had circulated, Kimmel emerged from backstage in his signature black blazer, a mischievous glint in his eye that hinted at the storm brewing. The band, led by the ever-steady Cleto Escobedo III, kicked off with a cheeky cover of Eye of the Tiger, setting a tone that screamed confrontation before a single word was uttered. As the crowd settled, Kimmel leaned into the desk, microphone in hand, and launched his opening salvo. Charlie, welcome to the show. I hear you're all about fighting the culture war. Great, because tonight, we're declaring war on bad ideas. Laughter rippled through the studio, but Kirk, perched on the guest couch with a stack of notes and that trademark half-smile, fired back without missing a beat. Jimmy, if this is war, I've got the youth vote locked. General Z's waking up to the woke nightmare you've been peddling for years. And just like that, the gloves were off. What followed wasn't your garden variety banter. It was a verbal cage match, escalating from policy jabs to personal haymakers, with Kimmel wielding his monologue mastery like a sledgehammer and Kirk countering with the fervor of a revival preacher. The audience, a mix of liberal-leaning Angelenos and a smattering of conservative plants, swung from cheers to boos, their energy feeding the frenzy like gasoline on a bonfire. Behind the scenes, producers huddled in the control room, fingers hovering over commercial break buttons, but director Scott Oskin held steady. After all, in the cutthroat world of late-night ratings, controversy is currency, and this was printing money by the second. As the argument intensified, Kimmel didn't just poke holes in Kirk's arguments, he eviscerated them, pulling up real-time fact checks on a giant screen. Clips of Kirk's own speeches contradicting his on-air claims about voter fraud in 2020, stats from Pew Research debunking his campus indoctrination narrative, and even a supercut of Turning Point's biggest scandals, like the 2023 embezzlement probe that nearly tanked the org. Kirk, red-faced and gesturing wildly, tried to pivot to Kimmel's Hollywood elite hypocrisy, accusing him of ignoring real America while cashing Disney checks. But Kimmel swatted it away with a quip that landed like a gut punch. Charlie, the only thing you're fighting for is relevance. Your youth movement couldn't fill a high school pep rally without daddy's dark money. The studio erupted, half in hysterics, half in outrage, as Kirk slammed his fist on the couch, shouting, "This is why people hate your show, you're a propagandist in a suit." Kimmel, unfazed, leaned in closer, his voice dropping to that signature deadpan growl. "And you're a grifter in khakis, peddling fear to kids too young to vote but old enough to spot a con." Mic drop. Dead air. The band froze mid-note. For a full 10 seconds, an eternity in TV time, the only sound was the hum of the lights and the distant murmur of Burbank traffic. Kirk, steam practically rising from his collar, gathered his notes and bolted for the wings, muttering something about cancel culture under his breath, while the audience exploded into a cacophony of applause, jeers, and one viral chant of, "Get him out." From the back row, cut to commercial, but the damage was done. Hashtag Kimmel vs Kirk trended worldwide within minutes, racking up 2.3 million mentions on X alone, with clips dissected on everything from TikTok thirst traps to Fox News fury fests. This wasn't just a spat, it was a seismic shift, exposing the raw fault lines of America's culture wars in prime time, where a comedian with a desk and a guest with a grudge could ignite a national inferno. But to understand the blaze, we have to rewind the tape on the men at the center, two titans of their tribes, forged in fires of fame and fury that made this collision inevitable. Jimmy Kimmel's ascent to late-night royalty is the stuff of underdog legends, a Brooklyn-born everyman who traded card tricks and ventriloquism for a microphone that could make America laugh, cry, and occasionally rage all at once. Born in 1967 to a homemaker mom and an electrician dad in the shadow of the Verrazano Bridge, Kimmel grew up idolizing Carson and Letterman, honing his chops on local radio gigs and that infamous stint as Cruz on The Man Show alongside Adam Carolla, where he lampooned everything from beer pong to feminist gripes in a haze of 90s bro culture excess. By 2003, ABC handed him the keys to a flagging 11:35 slot, and Jimmy Kimmel Live was born, not with a bang, but with a self-deprecating wink, featuring cardboard cutouts of guests and fake commercials that thumbed their noses at the format's stuffiness. Early years were rocky. Ratings lagged behind Leno and O'Brien, and critics sniped at his juvenile humor, but Kimmel pivoted masterfully, blending absurdity with sincerity. Think his tearful post-Pulse nightclub tribute in 2016, or the mean tweets, segments that humanized celebs like Drake reading fan-hate mail. Under the Disney umbrella, he became the network's cash cow, pulling 2 to 3 million viewers nightly and Oscars hosting gigs that showcased his razor wit on A-listers. But the Trump era supercharged him. Monologues morphed into must-see TV, eviscerating policies from the travel ban to family separations with data-driven disdain and dad joke delivery, earning Emmys but alienating half the heartland. Off-screen, Kimmel's a devoted family man, married to comedy writer Molly McNearney since 2013, dad to 4, including son Billy born with a congenital heart defect that inspired his advocacy for children's health via the Cover the Gap Fund, raising millions for surgeries. Yet, that vulnerability masks a fighter's core. He's no stranger to scraps, from feuds with Sean Hannity over healthcare lies to clapping back at D-list trolls on Twitter, where his @JimmyKimmel handle boasts 13 million followers. Critics call him a coastal snob, but fans see a truth teller, the guy who calls BS on power without pulling punches, even when it costs him, like the 2018 backlash over his Covington Catholic Kids monologue, which he later owned as a misstep. By 2025, with late-night viewership cratering amid cord-cutting and TikTok distractions, Kimmel's gamble on edgier bookings paid off, inviting lightning rods like Kirk to spike the punch. Charlie Kirk, on the flip side, embodies the Ascendant Rights Youth Brigade, a self-made provocateur who bootstrapped Turning Point from a high school kitchen table project into a conservative colossus, mobilizing 2,500 campus chapters and claiming credit for flipping purple states red in 2024. Raised in the Chicago suburbs by a stay-at-home mom and a casino executive dad, Kirk was the debate team prodigy who skipped college to chase politics full-time, interning for Mike Pence at 18 and launching TPUSA in 2012 with a mission to identify, educate, train, and organize students to promote freedom. His style, relentless. Viral stunts like Professor Watchlist, outing, biased, academics, buses of activists storming swing state rallies, and podcasts racking 10 million downloads monthly, where he grills guests on everything from socialism's sins to drag queen story hours. Kirk's married to Erica Francevey, a fellow conservative influencer, and they're expecting their first child amid a lifestyle of private jets and Mar-a-Lago fundraisers, bankrolled by donors like the DeVoses and Mercers. But glories come with grit. Lawsuits over alleged election meddling in 2020, accusations of whitewashing history in his 1776 curriculum, and the 2023 internal audit revealing $1.2 million in consulting fees to cronies, which he spun as a deep state hit job. Kirk thrives on the fray, turning cancellations into cash cows, but walking into Kimmel's den was his boldest play yet, a chance to humanize conservatism for normie viewers, or so he thought. Their worlds collided not by accident but algorithm. ABC, eyeing a ratings bump post-Olympics slump, greenlit the booking despite internal memos warning of hostile optics. As the taping wrapped, Kirk's abrupt exit forcing an awkward band jam to fill time. Neither man knew the real eruption was just beginning, a fallout that would ripple from Burbank boardrooms to Pennsylvania Avenue, testing the limits of free speech, corporate spin, and the fragile truce between entertainment.